All right, Ross, I see you. It's been 50 minutes and I haven't had a single sip of my coffee. Cold. Hi YouTube, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Hailiiz or Ricky and I do art stuff. So just over a year ago, I posted a review for Rossdraws Advanced Brush Set. It is by far my most viewed video at 5,601 views at this moment. And I just want to say I'm completely honored. I definitely feel like I don't have the right for that many views here on YouTube, but thank you so much for the support. And if you have not seen today's video, we are going to be going over the updated version of his advanced brush set. I've really been wanting to do this video, but I just have not had the time, and today is the day before I'm gonna post it, and I'm recording it now. It's 11:32. Let's get into it. For last year's video, I created a portrait that I call Positivity, and I still really like her, but as I've grown as an artist, I feel like I could have done better. If you do want to see me try to redraw Positivity,
please leave a comment down below,
because I think that would be really cool. So I wish that I had picked something that actually showcased these brushes better. I don't do a lot of, landscape type work. So without further ado, let's get into checking out this brush pack, because there is a lot in comparison to how it was before. So like with last video, we are going to be doing a really shoddy landscape drawing because I don't know what I'm doing, but why not give it a shot? It's not gonna be great. It's just gonna be seeing what we could potentially use these brushes for. Hopefully it's gonna be better than last year's, because last year's was not so good if I'm being honest. So let's start with a base. I've got this like periwinkle color here. I'm just gonna drop that down. And I really just wanna splotch on a good cloud because I'm obsessed. I'm just gonna use my finger. With a stamp brush, you can use your fingers if you just want it to plop right down, like so. I want bigger. I want bigger and better. We're gonna go like this. How cool is that? So already obsessed with that possibility. Now he also has some smaller clouds here. Oh wow. So when I'm using my brush, it looks like it's a bit difficult to go down, but it still looks realistic. Like if you're looking at clouds from far away, I really like that. If I use my finger, it doesn't really do much. So this is not a stamp brush like the first cloud. Please, cloud lovers, tell me down below what kind of cloud that might be. And then we have this one as well. More natural. This one is a stamp brush. You can see the difference here because I can just plop them down. But I'm still obsessed with the first one for sure. I think that's it for clouds. We've got lots of plant textures. I'm obsessed with this one in particular. And more grass, more flowers. He's got a flower head brush, which is kind of cool. Let's see here. So this looks like a stamp as well, potentially. Oh no. Okay, so say you've got, some grasslands. Let's draw some grass real quickly. I'm gonna use like a blue green because I feel like an actual green is gonna be a bit much. But here's what I'm gonna do. Let's see what we got. We've got soft paint, we've got marker, so much going on here. Let's just block it out and start with this round brush.
Wow.
This feels like a drawing I did when I was a kid, like just drawing hills and stuff like that. I'm going to alpha lock this by pulling it to the right with my two fingers. And then I'm just going to use the airbrush to drop a bit of difference in the grass. I'm using a yellow green here. Let's use a bit more of a really much more blue green. This is kind of the reflection off the sky. If you really want to color bounce that, you can grab that sky color and just soft airbrush put it onto the grass. Does that make sense? And then just to spice it up, I'm going to use this and I'm just going to darken it up. I'm going to use a blue or green, but just around the edge here. All right, so now we've got a bit of a landscape going. Again, don't know what I'm doing, but kind of cool. I feel like this would be a very magical place to be. So now we can test out all of these really cool brushes. Before we get started, one thing that I like to do before adding details to a blocked item is adding texture to it. Even if it ends up that you don't end up using those really textured parts, it can really help bring a piece together so it's not just one big blob of details. Does that make sense? Usually, like if it's clothes, I'll just add like a noise brush, that kind of thing. So let's try some of these textured brushes. They're really interesting. So I'm going to take my Procreate layer and I'm going to clip it to the one below, and I'm just going to start with a multiply layer, and I'm going to use a bluer green. When you're shading green, blue tones can look a lot more natural and not so intense. So that's a good place to start. Hopefully. I mean, really, do I know what I'm doing? We'll just draw. Okay, so this is like, yes, I remember this from the first one. It's a really interesting texture and it makes it feel a bit more painterly, if that makes sense. So we'll drop that down. What else do we got? I think these are all very like variations of the same thing. This looks like a tire tread, which is kind of cool. You could utilize that. This one looks like it could be like hair. Nope, still seems to be the same thing. It seems a bit more intense though, which I like. Let's go like this. When you're doing big items, I think it's really great to envision pieces of it, chunks. It's like when you're doing hair, you're not drawing every single strand. You are taking a chunk of that hair and then painting that strand and moving on. Well, you don't have to do that. You can do whatever you want. This is art, okay? Now, what else do we got here? We're gonna add another clipped layer. We got Rossdraws mark making. Now, what does this mean? Whoa, that's kind of cool. It's again another textured brush. I could see this looking really, really good on like a wood object instead of grass. Ultimately, what it comes down to is the more texture that you add to something, the more the possibility of it looking interesting. But then again, if you add too much detail, you want to remember where the vision is going, like where you're going to be looking first and where you want your viewers to be looking first at the art piece. For me, for example, because I do portraits, I put most of my detail in the face and the hair because I want people to instantly start looking there. We got another mark making brush. Oh, this one's really intense, but I really quite like it. Just a bit of a difference. I feel like these would be really, really good if you're doing like mountains and stuff. Let's go like that. I'm gonna merge those. Oop. And clip some more. Okay, what else do we got? Now we've got flowers, we've got grass, and we've got plants. So correction, I don't want to clip this because when I'm doing this drawing, again, I'm not a landscape artist, so don't trust me, but this is how I would approach it as someone who is not trained in landscape. I don't want this sharp line to be my cut point in the art piece. I want it to be a bit more interesting. So I'm going to start with, oh my goodness, there's so many grass options. I don't know what a professional would start with, but let's say we're gonna start with this and we're gonna fix up this silhouette a bit. This is really pretty. And the harder that you press, ooh, the angle matters here. The harder that you press, it seems the bigger they become, which is a really nice feature. I'm still learning to make brushes myself, so I honestly have no idea how to do that, but it's definitely effective. That was a bit intense. I'm gonna grab a bit of a darker one and then add a lighter one in front. Oh, that angle really, really matters here. So now I'm just gonna press lighter. I'm gonna grab this soft green at the bottom here, and I'm just gonna take my brush. I'm just going like this, just to spice it up. Now, as you can see, it's really lined, and I want to draw away from that. I don't want it to be that intense. So now we've kind of, it's not great, but we've spiced up the silhouette of the grass. And now we can keep going. I'm going to do another layer. Let's try this one, grass 2. Oh, This one seems to change angles a bit more as you're going, which is fine. I do find when you're doing something like this, it's good to spice it up, but sometimes it's a bit much. Okay, so far I'm pretty impressed with these brushes. We have this plant texture. This just looks like it is making the grass a bit more realistic, which is great. I could see this being super, super effective. So we've got this really sharp edge, straight line, which I often see in Photoshop, which again, these brushes are good for Photoshop and Procreate, so that makes sense. I'm just tapping this mixer brush, and I kind of like the way that it's turning out. It's making things a little less intense. I'm dropping it in other areas of the piece too. Okay, I mean, from far away, that still looks better than my last landscape portrait, I hope. So next thing that I'm going to do, let's try the Nema flower. I like that idea. What color of a flower do we want to do? If we're using blue, I always like a pink, but I don't know if it's going to be too much. Let's try. Okay, I see how it is. So maybe let's try some wildflowers. Oh, it changes color as you use it. That's fun. Oh, wow. Okay, let's try it using it pink. So it is changing color on its own. This is a feature you can do in Procreate that I have not yet figured out, but that's so cool. I don't think I want it that intense. Maybe I do. Yeah, that wasn't bad. That wasn't bad. I'm gonna see if I can distort it like this, so they're not as intense. Yeah, like that. That's really pretty. I'm gonna use a soft airbrush just to kind of soften around the bottom there. Wow, that's really cool. I really quite like that. Now, something that I'm noticing is one of my favorite brushes from before is not in here. I will go down to Rossdraws Advanced Brush Set. For his flower brush in this one, he had these, and I loved them. Now, that's not saying that he deleted them. Maybe he just assumed that like you already had it, or maybe he didn't think it was just as good as it was. I personally loved this brush. I've utilized it for a few things. The first one I can think of is my Persephone art piece for the flowers around her head. I'm going to use this brush from the original brush pack from Rossdraws because I just really, really like it because it's really cute. It's almost like little sections of clovers or something, and I just love that so much. I just think it's a really great brush. If you can hear the wind, I'm very sorry. I live in a cold place. At least it's still cold. It snowed yesterday. Unimpressed. So we've got a lot going on the grass right now. A couple of other side notes is that he did also have these plant brushes, this grass brush, which is no longer in this new pack. But I mean, he's got some really great alternatives. So next thing that we want to do, or not that we want to do, that I'm going to do, because I don't know what I'm doing, but here's what I'm going to do. So we've got this background. We've got the, I don't know the fancy terms because I'm completely and utterly self-taught, but we've got the background, we've got the middle, and then I think the word is the foreground. And I would like to try and play around with that. So I've got blue periwinkle sky, grass on the bottom, some flowers. If I was to put a bit of closer plants is essentially what I'm thinking. I want to be careful with the color that I'm using because I've already got so much going on. I think I'm going to stick to that green blue. We're going to start with that because we can always play around with it. So here's what the bush looks like. And it does change color as well. I'm sorry, I'm mesmerized. I think that is mesmerizing. I don't know if I like it. We definitely can't have it on this side because we don't want it to be completely taking over. Now, the question is, can I? Yes, I am trying to create a frame around my photo with the foreground. question mark. So let's start with that. I kind of like that. That's kind of cool. I'm going to try a darker color here. This is now turning into a tree and this lower one a bush. Okay, so there's something that we're going to be doing with this when we're done, but let's keep going. Let's detail this up a bit. He does have some leaves here. Let's grab this lighter color. Wow, this looks great. Let's go even lighter. That's a bit neon. That's a bit much. Let's go pastel. So if I just take my brush and I go like this, it seems to add a nice little effect, which is great. I appreciate that. Now, it's a bit much because I picked too light of a color because I don't know what I'm doing. And once again, I'm adding too much detail to where I don't want the eyes drawn, but there's something that I will be doing to mess with that. This is a tree, so I'm going to draw this a bit bigger using the same light green that I told myself not to use because that's how pros work. Just kidding, I'm not a pro. What else can I do here? We've got these beautiful drop down leaves. Let's try that. Let's give that a go. Maybe we'll... So when I drop them, will they change direction? They do. Okay, so I want them on a new layer because I'm going to mess around with them. Okay. Wah! Give that a good old spinny spin. I really like the silhouette that this creates. So I'm gonna go like that. I'm just gonna duplicate it, change the size, and darken it a bit, and lower the saturation. I'm actually gonna take the original and lower the saturation a bit as well. Now I'm gonna take these bushes and I'm gonna do a multiply layer just to get... So I do believe he had a brush that I really liked that I had turned it to like a falling leaf. But again, I don't see that in the new one. Let's see, Rossdraws Advanced. Was it the plant brush I was using? I feel like it was. Let's give it a go. It was. Again, I don't know what I'm doing, but I do want to add some of these flowers from the last brush pack as well to this. Because why not? And a bit to the bush. Okay, cool. So next thing that I'm going to do is his burbs. He's got burbs in his new brush pack and I think that is so cool and I've been wanting to try it, but I waited. Look at that brush. What? Okay. All right, Ross. I see you. Incredible. I'm going to finish up this drawing here. I will see you when this is done. Okay, we are all done. This was way more fun than it had any right to be, if I'm being honest. Special shout out to Rossdraws. He has no idea who I am. His brush pack, I This is the first time I've used it. I downloaded it a while ago, but I haven't touched it because I wanted to save it for this video. I'm super impressed and always inspired by Rossdraws, so please go check them out. I definitely recommend this brush pack because, like, I mean, I'm not a profesh, but this...
I think it looks kind of cool.
Thank you for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you want to see more videos from me, please be sure to hit that subscribe button because, well, it'll motivate me to post every Friday. If you did sit through this whole video, I really appreciate you. But if you do want to see tutorials and things from me that are not landscape, probably, check out my Patreon. It's only $5 to get every tutorial I've ever posted. I had a lot of fun today. Thank you for joining me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!